In a dome of shimmering light, the Council of Xylar, rulers of 100 worlds, watched a small blue planet. Their forms were strange, alien, their crystal eyes fixed on Earth. Reports had just arrived, and they were impossible. A tiny, unprepared human colony had somehow fought off an entire fleet of their most elite warriors. "How?" hissed one counselor, its voice like breaking metal. "They should have fallen." "They are different," another whispered. "The humans, they do not act like other species." Then, a vision from the colony itself filled their minds. A human figure, small and almost fragile-looking, stood on the rocky surface, but her eyes were fierce, unwavering. She stepped forward, and though she whispered to herself, the words carried across the void, striking the council with a force their shields couldn't block. "You conquered Earth?" The council froze. For the first time in a millennium, they felt something they had long forgotten: uncertainty. Fear. Humans had always been underestimated. Their technology was primitive, their armies insignificant. Yet here they stood, defiant. They didn't beg or plead. They fought with a ferocity the galaxy had never witnessed. And now the Council could sense it. Humans were not bound by the same rules of fear or mercy or even logic. Back on the colony, the woman turned to her people. "Prepare the defenses," she commanded, her voice calm but heavy with authority. "They won't come again lightly, but we will be ready." The humans moved with a quiet, terrifying precision. They erected strange, cobbled-together machines, reinforced their walls, and placed sensors across the rugged terrain. Every action was purposeful, every decision instinctive. They were a tiny speck against the galaxy's giants, but in the hearts of the Xylar Council, they loomed larger than life. In the council chamber, a furious debate erupted. "Send another fleet," one demanded. "Crush them completely, they are a threat." "They are more than a threat," another argued. "They are unpredictable. I have never seen a species fight like this. Even when cornered, they adapt. They think too fast, they act too strangely. And still, they survive." A counselor leaned forward, its voice a low hum. "Perhaps they are not worth the risk. Perhaps we should wait." The others turned, their eyes narrowing. Wait! How could they wait when a species like this existed? The very idea was unsettling. Humans didn't follow the rules of engagement. They rewrote them on the battlefield. Meanwhile, on the colony, the work continued. Scouts traced the aliens' paths, studying the technology they left behind. Engineers swarmed the wreckage of the Xylar fleet, learning, adapting, creating. A small child watched, holding a stick like a rifle. No one shooed her away. Humans believed in everyone's contribution, in every mind, every hand, no matter how small. Perhaps that was their secret. As night fell, the sky lit up with distant, menacing lights. The Xylar fleet hadn't forgotten. Their ships hovered above, scanning, watching, waiting. But the humans didn't hide. They lit their fires, set their traps, and moved with a quiet, chilling confidence. The council's whispers grew more frantic. "We cannot predict them. Their concept of mercy is not ours. Their fear is not ours. And their courage, it is unmatched." On the colony, the woman glanced up at the stars. This was only the beginning. The whispers of humanity, their defiance, had reached the far corners of the galaxy. And soon everyone would learn what it meant to face Earth. She whispered again, a promise to herself and to the cosmos. "Let them come. Let them see what humans are made of." The council gasped in unison. No other species had ever dared to challenge them with such calm, such certainty. And in that moment, the Xylar rulers felt a cold, dawning realization. Strategy, caution, and even mercy were no longer weapons in their arsenal. Humans had just redefined the rules of war. Somewhere deep in the void, an alien ship shifted its course. Another fleet was being readied. But the humans were ready too. With every moment the council debated, humanity adapted, learned, and grew stronger. That quiet whisper echoed through the void, bouncing off star systems, reaching ears that had never heard such defiance. And the council, the mighty rulers of 100 worlds, finally understood something terrifying. Humans were not just survivors. They were conquerors in their own right. And mercy was a word that no longer belonged to them. The Xylar Council had made its decision. In the silent darkness of space, a small fleet, the fastest and most precise ships in their entire arsenal, moved toward Earth. Their mission was simple: crush the humans before they could grow any stronger. But the humans were not unaware. For days, scouts hidden on hills and cliffs had watched the alien movements. They studied the ship's patterns, their speed and their weak points. They possessed none of the fancy technology of the Xylar, but they had something far more dangerous: intuition and unity. The human commander, the same woman who had whispered warnings to the council, gathered her people. "They think they know us," she said, her voice echoing with resolve. "They think we will hide, we will beg, or we will die quietly. They are wrong." She pointed to the horizon, where the alien ships glinted like cold, distant stars against the rising sun. "We will make them regret every single step they take." Instantly, every human moved like a well-oiled machine. Engineers checked energy traps, miners dug trenches deep into the earth, and children and adults alike carried supplies to critical positions. Every action was planned, yet flexible. Every single person had a role. Humans thrived in chaos, and chaos was coming. When the alien fleet breached the outer atmosphere, they expected a swift victory. They assumed the humans would either flee in terror or surrender unconditionally. They had fatally underestimated one simple truth: humans do not follow the rules. The first strike came not from the sky, but from the ground. A single human vehicle, a rugged machine built from scrap metal and reinforced engines, shot straight toward the lead Xylar ship. Energy beams flared from the alien vessel, its shield shimmering with power, and then, a blinding flash. The lead ship exploded. The aliens froze. It was impossible. Their advanced calculations, their superior technology, their centuries of combat experience, none of it had predicted this. And the humans? They celebrated quietly, not with arrogance, but with a renewed, steely focus. The battle had only just begun. The remaining Xylar ships retaliated. Beams of blue and green fire tore through the landscape. Humans dove into trenches, took cover behind rocky hills, and launched their own counterattacks. Each strike from the humans was precise, yet completely unpredictable. They weren't trained in the traditional ways of war. They fought with their minds, their instincts, their raw creativity. The human commander watched the battlefield through a makeshift telescope, her eyes sharp and calculating. "They move together, but they are slow," she muttered. "We can make them chase shadows." She gave the orders. Small human squads created decoys, luring ships into meticulously laid traps, and hacked alien sensors with crude devices no bigger than a child's backpack. One by one, the Xylar fleet began to falter. The council, watching from their distant chambers, could barely comprehend what was happening. "They are adapting," one whispered in disbelief. "Faster than we ever expected. Smarter than any other species we've encountered." Another counselor's voice trembled. It's impossible. How are they doing this with such primitive technology?" Meanwhile, on the ground, the humans continued their work. Explosions rocked the hills, but not a single person panicked. Engineers repaired machines in the middle of battle. Scouts ran messages faster than any alien communication system. And above it all, the commander's voice remained a guiding force as calm as a river in a storm. As night fell, the humans didn't stop. Fires burned along the hillsides, not as signals of surrender, but as warnings. The aliens advanced, but every step forward led them into another trap. Mines hidden in the ground, energy nets strung between rocks, and human squads that moved like ghosts tore through their ranks. One Xylar ship tried to retreat, but a human squad ambushed it from above. Energy beams struck its engines, sparks flew, and then the ship went silent, tumbling into the dark sea below. The council gasped. Their elite fleet, feared across the galaxy, was being dismantled by a species they had mocked. The humans were fearless, relentless, and ruthless in ways the council had never imagined. Yet they were also brilliant. They didn't kill recklessly. Every move was strategic. Every strike had a purpose. The human commander turned to her people, her voice calm but firm. This is only the beginning. They will come again stronger, but so will we. Remember this night. Remember that humans do not run. We do not beg. We do not fear what others call gods. We fight, and we survive. In the distant council chamber, the whispers grew louder. We have made a grave mistake. We underestimated them. We have awakened something dangerous, something we cannot control. The stars were quiet again, but the galaxy had felt a tremor. Humans had struck back, and their strike had left a permanent mark. The council realized with a growing sense of dread that Earth was not a world to be conquered. It was a challenge. And humans were no ordinary species. The night had ended, but the war had only just begun. The morning sun broke over the human colony, but the light revealed something even stranger than the night's battle. Alien ships, sleek and deadly, hovered above, trying to regroup. Their pilots were skilled, their weapons lethal, but the humans had something they did not expect. In a hidden lab, deep beneath the mountains, engineers and scientists worked feverishly on a device they had salvaged from the wreckage of the first alien attack. It was small, unassuming, but its purpose was terrifying. It could interface with the alien ship's AI, disrupt their targeting systems, and even override their controls. The humans had no name for it yet. They only knew it worked. The commander inspected the device, her hands steady, her mind sharp. "This is our chance," she said, her voice a low hum of determination. "We can turn their own machines against them. We must strike carefully. One wrong move and they'll know our plan." Above ground, alien scouts saw nothing out of the ordinary. They believed the humans were relying on terrain tricks and basic weapons. They were oblivious to the silent, invisible weapon being prepared below, a weapon that could decide the outcome of the entire conflict. The first test came quickly. A small alien fighter, a scout, swooped close to the colony. The human operator activated the device. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then the fighter's engine sputtered. Its weapon systems flickered and died. Confused, the pilot tried to regain control, but the ship spun wildly and crashed into the mountainside. A quiet cheer rippled through the human command center. Victory, they knew, came in small, calculated moments, not loud celebrations. Every step counted. Every machine mattered. Across the vastness of space, the Council on Xylar could feel it. Their sensors picked up strange anomalies, inexplicable glitches in their fleet systems. Their technology. "It is affecting our ships," one counselor said, his voice shaking with disbelief. "How? They are not advanced enough for this." Another whispered, his eyes wide with a dawning horror. "They are learning, faster than we ever anticipated. They are turning our own systems against us." The humans didn't stop. They didn't rest. They deployed the device on multiple drones and ground vehicles, creating a network of disruption. Alien ships suddenly found themselves fighting their own fleet. Weapons fired at allies. Engines failed mid-flight. Panic spread like wildfire through the Xylar formation. On the colony, humans moved with a singular, unified purpose. Scouts lured enemy ships into prepared traps. Engineers recalibrated the hidden device, expanding its reach to affect more of the enemy fleet. Even the children, some barely 10 years old, ran messages between posts, weaving the separate parts of the resistance into a single, coordinated whole. Every human acted as one mind, one heart, one unstoppable force. The commander stood on a ridge, watching the beautiful, terrible chaos unfold below. "They think their numbers make them strong," she said to her second-in-command. "But we have something they cannot understand. We have ingenuity. We have courage. And now we have the power to turn their own machines against them." The Xylar Council descended into panic. "We cannot lose ships like this," one shouted. "They should be weak. They are a single world. This is impossible." Another counselor's voice trembled. "We may have underestimated them entirely. They are dangerous beyond measure." The humans struck again, a squadron of alien destroyers believing itself safe in high orbit, suddenly malfunctioned. Missiles went astray. Energy beams collided with friendly vessels and ships crashed into each other in a terrible dance of self-destruction. The humans did not celebrate. They only prepared for the next strike. As night fell, the commander gathered her people. Tomorrow they will come stronger, but they will not expect us to fight with what they cannot see. We are human, and humans do not surrender. Not now, not ever. The council watched their fleet monitors in helpless horror. They were beginning to realize that humans were not just brave, they were unstoppable when pushed. Their unpredictability, their creativity, and their relentless spirit were a force unlike any other in the galaxy. Somewhere deep within the remnants of the Xylar fleet, a voice whispered in fear over an open comm channel. Mercy. Mercy is no longer a human word. And on their small, defiant planet, the humans continued to prepare. The galaxy had seen their first strike, but it had no idea what was coming next. The sky above Earth grew dark as the Xylar fleet arrived in full force. Hundreds of ships, sleek and lethal, blotted out the horizon. Their weapons glowed with an ominous light, ready to scorch the planet below. But the humans weren't afraid. On the cliffs and hills they moved like shadows, every squad knowing their position, every hand ready for action. Engineers double-checked the intricate network of traps, scouts relayed enemy positions with silent precision, and even the children, small but utterly fearless, carried vital messages faster and more securely than any machine could ever track. The commander, standing on a high ridge, raised her hand. They think they can crush us with numbers, she said, her voice a calm anchor in the coming storm. They don't know our minds. They don't know our courage. Let's remind them what humans are made of. As if on cue, the first wave of alien ships descended. Blazing energy beams sliced through the air, and thunderous explosions lit up the sky like a new violent dawn. Humans dived behind rocks, activated hidden traps, and returned fire with deadly accuracy. Every alien attack was met with a swift counter, every maneuver predicted and challenged. But the humans had an ace up their sleeve, a plan the Xylar could never have anticipated. A small elite squad, equipped with a top-secret device designed to hack alien AI, moved silently among the hills. One by one, alien ships began to malfunction. Engines sputtered and failed mid-flight. Weapon systems turned on their own allies, and ships plummeted from the sky in a chaotic storm of fire and wreckage. The aliens were stunned. Aboard their command bridge, one counselor gasped, "They are controlling our machines. This is impossible." Meanwhile, the humans on the ground acted as a single, coordinated entity. Scouts expertly lured alien ships into deadly traps. Engineers detonated mines with perfect, devastating timing, and the commander orchestrated every move with unwavering calm. The battle had evolved into a war of wits. Each alien strike was met not just with resistance, but with a brilliant human counter-strategy. They didn't just fight. They outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and outthought the Xylar at every single turn. One massive alien flagship, dripping with arrogance and confident in its overwhelming power, moved directly toward the colony's heart, intending to crush the human resistance once and for all. But the commander had anticipated this exact move. "Now," she whispered into her comms. In an instant, a vast network of energy nets and mines activated simultaneously. The flagship was caught, its powerful weapons disabled, its engines failing. It spun helplessly out of control, crashing into the mountainside in a spectacular shower of sparks and fire. The humans didn't waste time with loud cheers. They simply prepared for the next move. The commander looked at the horizon, where more alien ships were already gathering for another assault. "They will come again," she said, her voice firm, "but they will never expect us to fight with what they cannot see." Miles away, the Xylar Council watched the disaster unfold on their screens, completely helpless. They had never encountered a species like this. Humans were fearless, impossibly clever, and united in a way that defied all logic. Every strategy the Council had perfected over centuries of conquest failed against Earth. One counselor whispered, trembling, "We have awakened something dangerous, something far beyond our control." Another voice added, full of dread. Mercy is not a concept they understand in battle. They fight as one, and they do not stop. Back on the colony, the humans stood ready. Fires from the wreckage lit the hills, new traps were being set, and the people waited, calm and prepared. They had survived the first strike. They had outsmarted a superior enemy, and now they were ready for whatever came next. The sky above Earth was quiet for a moment, but everyone knew it was only a temporary pause. The war had only just begun, and the humans were just getting started. The sky above Earth was a canvas of fire and light. Alien dreadnoughts, massive and terrifying, fell from orbit like burning comets, their hulls breached and glowing with internal explosions. On the ground, amidst the chaos, humans moved with a calm, terrifying precision. Every blast, every calculated maneuver, every perfectly timed strike was part of an intricate planetary-wide plan. Far away, in the sterile chambers of their High Council, the Xylar watched the feeds from Earth, their multifaceted eyes widening in disbelief. They are stronger than we imagined, one of them whispered, its voice a low thrum of static. Entire fleets, our finest armadas, falling to a single primitive planet. Another council member shifted nervously. They do not fight like the other species we have conquered. They adapt faster than our predictive models can calculate. They think differently. Our tried and true methods, the strategies that built our empire, are failing. Meanwhile, back on the scorched battlefields of Earth, the humans had achieved something extraordinary. A small alien officer, desperately trying to coordinate a retreat for his shattered squadron, was captured. He was fierce, encased in advanced combat armor, and trained for generations in the art of war. But even he could not resist the humans' clever, interlocking traps and relentless flanking tactics. The human commander approached him. Her face was smudged with dirt and smoke, but her eyes were calm and held an unnerving command. "You've seen what we can do," she said, her voice steady despite the thunder of distant explosions. "Take this message back to your council. Tell them, Earth will not kneel. Mercy is no longer ours to give." The captured officer looked around at the wreckage of his ships, the cunningly laid traps that had ensnared them, and the humans moving with the terrifying unity of a single, hive-like mind. He could feel their raw determination, their fierce intelligence, their unbreakable bond. "Impossible," he muttered, his own language sounding weak. "You should have fallen in the first cycle." "We have not," the commander replied, her gaze fixed on him. "And we will not. Not now, not ever." Back in the council chamber, the whispers of disbelief had grown into a chorus of panic. "We underestimated them," a senior counselor declared, its voice trembling. "Entire fleets wiped from existence by a single world. By humans." "How?" Another replied, its appendages twitching. "They are relentless. They adapt to everything we throw at them. Every biological agent, every kinetic bombardment, every psionic assault. It all fails, and still, they survive. They fight like cornered predators, yet with the cunning intelligence and unity of a grand master." A horrifying truth began to dawn upon the council. Humans weren't just strong or brave. They were beyond prediction. The usual tactics of shock and awe, the overwhelming force that had crushed 1,000 worlds, even fear itself, had no lasting effect on them. They were an anomaly in the galaxy, a force of nature unlike any other. The captured officer was eventually released, sent back to his masters not just with a message, but as a living testament to human ingenuity. Every detail he reported sent fresh waves of terror through the council. "They are not just defenders," he stated, his voice resonating with a newfound respect and fear. "They are conquerors in their own right. They learn from our technology at an impossible rate. They will not stop. They fight with something we cannot comprehend, a spirit, a will that our logic cannot quantify." The council, rulers of a galactic empire for untold centuries, felt true fear for the first time. They had crushed countless species, extinguished stars, and reshaped galaxies to their will. And yet, humans, this one species, on this one world, had shown them a new kind of power. It wasn't just their technology. It wasn't just their numbers. It was their courage, their intelligence, their unity, and their terrifying unpredictability, all forged into one. On Earth, humanity prepared for the next wave. Fires of industry lit the hillsides. New and improved traps were set, and the people moved like shadows in the night, a silent, global army. They knew the Council would strike again, stronger and more desperate this time. But the humans were ready. The commander stood on a ridge looking up at the star-dusted sky, her expression calm but fierce. "Let them come," she whispered to the wind. "We are ready. We do not beg. We do not kneel. And we will never forget who we are." In the distant gilded chamber of the Xylar, new whispers spread through the panicked assembly. Mercy. Mercy is no longer a human word. And for the first time, the galaxy realized that Earth was not just a planet. It was a challenge, and humanity was its answer. The stars above burned like witnesses to a battle unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The Xylar Council, shaken and utterly humiliated by their earlier defeats, prepared their deadliest strike. Entire fleets, bristling with lethal power, moved toward Earth, their weapons charged and hungry. They believed overwhelming force was the answer, but they were wrong. Humans were ready. We had watched, we had learned, and most importantly, we had adapted. Every tactic the aliens had used before was now predicted. Every weakness was a target to be exploited. On a ridge overlooking the battlefield, a commander scanned the horizon as the first shadows of the invading fleet blotted out the sun. "They will think numbers and firepower will break us," she said, her voice steady and clear. "But we do not fight like others. We fight smart, we fight fast, and we fight together. Today, they will see what humans are truly capable of." As the first wave of alien ships descended, the air crackled with energy. Beams of pure destruction lanced the hills, shaking the very ground beneath our feet. But humanity's response was a symphony of flawless coordination. Hidden traps detonated in sequence, crippling the lead ships. Advanced energy nets, deployed at the perfect moment, disabled their primary weapon systems. And then, the true genius of the human strategy was revealed. Small, agile squads, using a newly developed hacking device, infiltrated the alien battle network. Their AI, once their greatest strength, turned against them. Ships fired on their own fleets. Chaos reigned among the invaders. With their front line in disarray, the humans struck where it would hurt the most, the orbital command centers. Swarms of stealth drones, each carrying the same disruptive hacking tech, slipped through the enemy's defenses and infiltrated the massive stations. One by one, their systems failed. Defense turrets turned on each other. Communications were scrambled into meaningless static. Alien leaders, cut off and blind, could not coordinate their forces. Panic, a virus more potent than any weapon, spread like wildfire through the fleet. From the ridge, the commander watched the chaos unfold in the heavens. She whispered, almost to herself, "They thought we would fear them. They thought we would beg for mercy. They were wrong." The battle raged, but the tide had turned. The humans pressed forward, relentless and unyielding. Every ship the aliens lost was a testament to human ingenuity and superior strategy. Every failed attack was met with another, smarter counteroffensive. Humans were not just fighting to survive anymore. We were fighting to dominate a battlefield of our own choosing, on our own terms. Aboard their flagship, the Xylar Council watched in horror as their worst fears materialized. Their finest fleets, their most decorated officers, their supposedly superior technology, all were crumbling under the relentless assault of a species they had arrogantly dismissed as primitive. Humanity had redefined the very meaning of war. Mercy. Mercy is no longer a human word, a counselor whispered, his voice trembling with a terrifying realization. They fight with no restraint, no hesitation, no fear, and they do not stop. The human advance was unstoppable. Orbital stations fell. Entire alien fleets were scattered and disabled. The message was broadcast across the stars. etched in the wreckage of their broken armada. Earth is not to be conquered. Humanity will not surrender. And any who dare to threaten our home will face the full, unbridled force of our cunning, our courage, and our unity. Back on the ground, the commander turned to her people, their faces illuminated by the fires of their victory. This is our planet. This is our home. They will learn. If they do not respect humanity, they will fear it. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now. The sky was dark with smoke, but the fires of human determination burned brighter than any star. Every person on the planet knew a single, undeniable truth. When our world is threatened, we are unstoppable, we are unyielding, and we are merciless. The Xylar Council watched helplessly as their centuries of dominance shattered into cosmic dust. Humanity had spoken, and its voice was not one of mercy. As night fell, we regrouped, we repaired, and we prepared. This was more than a battle for survival. This was a declaration. Earth is human, and humanity will never bow. A whisper echoed once more across the cosmos, a promise and a warning to all who might listen. Mercy is no longer a human word. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next one. The silence on Earth wasn't peace. It was the calm before a storm we knew was coming. We had won the battle, yes, but the war was far from over. Out there, across the vast, cold darkness of space, the Xylar Council was regrouping. They were nursing their wounds, their pride shattered into a million pieces, and they would be back. We knew it, so here on Earth we prepared. We built new defenses, stronger than anything before. Our fleets, battered but not broken, were repaired and upgraded. We sent scouts, brave souls venturing beyond our solar system, to be our eyes and ears in the void. We had learned a hard lesson. Survival isn't just about fighting. It's about anticipating, adapting, and outthinking any enemy that dares to challenge us. I remember our commander standing on the highest ridge, her silhouette framed against a sky full of stars. She looked up, her voice steady. They will return, stronger, smarter, crueler. But so will we. Her words echoed in every heart. You could see it everywhere. Children playing near the repaired trenches weren't just playing games. They were learning to survive, to be resilient. Our brightest engineers were reverse engineering captured alien technology, finding incredible new ways to use it against its creators. Every single human, from the youngest child to the oldest veteran, understood a fundamental truth. The galaxy had underestimated us once. It would not make that mistake again. Then, it happened. A signal. It came from deep space, a place we'd never reached. It was strange, alien, and completely unfamiliar. Our cryptographers worked tirelessly, and when they broke the code, a chill went down our spines. It wasn't from the Xylar, it was a warning. From an unknown faction, a third party in this cosmic chess game. A new power was out there, watching us, learning from our victories, and waiting for its moment. The galaxy was so much larger, stranger, and more dangerous than we had ever imagined. The commander heard the news, and a faint, almost imperceptible smile touched her lips. It wasn't a smile of joy, but of pure, unyielding determination. She whispered to the wind, "Let them come. We are human, and humans never bow, never beg, and never forget." That sentiment spread like wildfire. Across the cosmos, we learned later, alien fleets stirred. Entire species who had only heard myths about us were now watching Earth, realizing the legends were true. We had fought, we had survived, but we had conquered something far greater than just a battle. We had conquered fear itself, and now the galaxy would watch us rise. The stars held new threats, new challenges, and new wars waiting to be fought. But one thing was crystal clear: humanity was ready. Earth was no longer just a world. It had become a symbol, a warning, a force to be reckoned with. And somewhere, in the gleaming council chambers and on the bridges of distant imperial fleets, the same phrase began to echo, whispered in 100 different alien tongues: mercy. Mercy is no longer a human word. Our story, this chapter, was over. But humanity's journey among the stars, and that had only just begun. Thanks for watching. If you want to see where our journey goes next, make sure to subscribe. The silence on Earth was not peace. It was the deep breath before the plunge. We had won the battle, a victory that echoed through the empty streets and scarred landscapes. But we knew the war was far from over. Out there, across the void between stars, the Xylar Council was regrouping. Their pride was shattered, their fleets broken, but their hatred was now a focused, burning thing. They would be back, and we would be ready. On Earth, a new age of preparation had dawned. Towering new defenses clawed at the skyline, shipyards hummed day and night, repairing and refitting our fleets. Brave scouts, our new pioneers, pushed beyond the familiar cradle of our solar system, charting the unknown, seeking any sign of the returning storm. We had learned a harsh lesson. Survival wasn't just about fighting harder. It was about anticipating, adapting, and outthinking an enemy that had existed for millennia longer than us. I stood on the highest ridge, the wind whipping at my coat, and stared up at the tapestry of stars. They were no longer just points of light. They were watchtowers for potential enemies. They will return, I said to the quiet air. Stronger, smarter, crueler, but so will we. Below me, in the fields near the now repaired trenches, children weren't just playing. They were learning the skills of survival, their games a strange mix of hide-and-seek and tactical drills. In humming laboratories, our brightest engineers tinkered with captured alien technology, reverse engineering its secrets, turning our enemies' weapons into our own shields and swords. Every single human, from the youngest child to the oldest veteran, now understood a fundamental truth. The galaxy had underestimated us once. It would not make that mistake again. Then, it came. A whisper from the deep. A signal from a place we had never charted, strange, alien, and utterly unfamiliar. Our codebreakers, the best in the known galaxy, deciphered it with chilling speed. It wasn't from the Xylar. It was a warning, sent by an unknown faction, a third party that had been watching from the shadows. A new power, they said, was rising. One that had been observing, learning, and waiting for its moment. The galaxy was larger, stranger, and infinitely more dangerous than we had ever dared to imagine. A faint smile touched my lips. It wasn't a smile of joy, but one of grim, unyielding determination. Let them come, I whispered to the stars. We are human, and humans never bow, never beg, and never forget. Across the cosmos, a shift was occurring. Alien fleets stirred in distant nebulae. Entire species, from crystalline beings to silicon-based lifeforms, turned their sensors toward our small blue world. They were realizing the garbled reports and unbelievable legends were true. The primitive primates from Sol 3 had not only fought one of the galaxy's oldest empires to a standstill, they had won. They had survived. They had conquered more than just a battle. They had conquered fear itself. And now, the rest of the galaxy would be forced to watch them rise. The stars above held new threats, new challenges, and the promise of new wars. But one thing was certain. Humanity was ready. Earth was no longer just a world, it was a symbol, a warning, a force to be reckoned with. And somewhere, in the glittering council chambers and on the bridge of colossal warships of distant empires, the same phrase was being echoed, a chilling realization spreading like wildfire. Mercy. Mercy is no longer a human word. The story of the Xylar War was over for now. But humanity's journey among the stars? That had only just begun. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe for more tales from the edge of the universe.